The first step in the immigration process, if you are coming to the United States through a relationship with an immediate relative who is either a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, is through the approval of USCIS Form I-130. Now, Form I-130 is a petition that establishes a valid relationship between a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident and their immediate relative foreign national. Once that I-130 is approved, it doesn't grant an immediate green card or visa or benefit for the beneficiary. What it does is it approves the relationship. It validates the relationship between the U.S. citizen or the lawful permanent resident and their foreign national immediate relative. Now, what does that do? Well, then it moves the case to the next step in the process. So an I-130 that is filed for somebody who is outside of the United States then moves to the second stage of the process, which is referred to as consular processing. And a lot of people think that I-130 will grant them some immediate benefit, but it does not. So it is very important after the approval of the I-130 to take the next steps in the process. And if the foreign national relative is overseas outside of the United States, what will happen is USCIS will approve that I-130. Then typically within 30 to 60 days, and it just depends on USCIS processing, what they will do is they will forward the approval to what is called the National Visa Center. And the National Visa Center is the agency here in the United States that is the central processing agency for all I-130 petitions all over the world. And what the National Visa Center then does is it does what is called document collection. And they will actually ask for a lot of the documents that you already submitted in the I-130 approval process. So it's kind of a redundant process here. And the NVC will then verify birth certificates, marriage certificates, divorce certificates, validity of marriage. They'll also validate affidavit of support or financial support for the foreign national being sponsored, domicile requirements, all of the things that they need in order to issue an immigrant visa. The National Visa Center will request the proof of these things, and they will be uploaded to the National Visa Center portal. And the National Visa Center will then review all of those documents to make sure that everything is above board. And then they will do what is called documentary qualification of the case. Once the NVC documentarily qualifies the case, what then happens is the National Visa Center will then notify the consulate that was indicated on the I-130 petition that the case is ready for interview. At that point, and only at that point, will an interview be scheduled for the foreign national to then have their interview and ultimately receive their immigrant visa to enter the United States. So the I-130 is just the beginning of the process. The I-130 is necessary in order to establish that valid relationship. But then after that, there are two more big steps that need to happen. The MVC processing through document collection and documentarily qualifying the case, and then ultimately the final interview at the U.S. consulate after MVC qualifies the case. Then after that interview at the consulate is when the immigrant visa would ultimately be issued, allowing your foreign national immediate relative to then enter the United States and obtain their U.S. permanent residency or their green card.